All right, dropping in with a little contemplation for you and for myself. It's one I've been kind of thinking about the last couple weeks, and in some ways it's kind of fun and might be a little all over the place. But as you can see from the title, your body is not a temple. And, I think that sentiment is nice. But what I want to explore is what our bodies really are. And that's from my limited perspective and understanding as well. So there might be a lot more to it than I don't know about yet. But, there's a lot of people that I've heard over the years talking about like, oh, I'm just here in this meat suit. And, that saying always sat with me kind of wrong and just didn't feel good. And so I don't think I've ever said it, but yeah, why did it sit with me wrong? I think that sort of became evident recently, and I do love this sort of sentiment around like your body is a temple, but really it's neither of these things. Our bodies are essentially like a multi-dimensional spaceship that our consciousness is located in for a short period of time, and within one human body, we're capable of being fully 1000% immersed in an attached identity to being a soccer player or a cyclist or a runner, something like that. And at the same time, through this body, we have the capacity to know that we are God and the creator of the entire universe, and that we are connected to everything, everyone, on this planet, in this solar system, and beyond. And so just the absolute diversity of what's possible through the instrument of the human body. I think there's so much talk about technology and we're doing this and what's AI doing, and it's like we have no understanding of what the human body does. It is the most advanced technology we've ever seen and encountered for most of us, and the reality is most of us have no idea. Astral travel to other dimensions is possible. Recalling past life experiences is possible. Accessing the Akashic Records is possible. Spontaneous healing within ourselves and of other people is possible. Running a 4-minute mile is possible. Running a 260-mile race is possible. Having the experience of being the universe, being spirit, being God is possible. And these are all things that human beings have experienced. And it's all because of the technology within our bodies. And if we can get out of the way, find out what is possible. And so I just think it's kind of funny sometimes, like the way that we limit what's possible, what our bodies are, and it's not that funny how we treat our bodies, and myself included. Basically, our bodies become the dumping ground for our ego's fears and projections, and our bodies are kind of forced to carry the burden and pushed beyond a healthy capacity on a physical, emotional, mental sense, or repressing these things and holding them inside, which creates massive blockages in the different energy bodies and chakras and distortions. And it's extremely complex. If you even just think about like the main 7 subtle bodies and moving through all of those, to sort of return our bodies to their most optimal experience and expression of DNA, and this like absolutely fine-tuned instrument of love. It takes a lot of work, but it's also possible. We can do it. We can do it, and we have to do it in concert with spirit or with God. We can't do it from the perspective of our mind, because the intelligence of spirit, the intelligence of the infinite potential of the universe is so far beyond like what we can imagine. We really have to get out of the way, use our awareness, and allow our bodies to be this spaceship or vessel or instrument for that infinite potential of love and spirit to manifest through. So why is this important? Is it even important? I think it's just like interesting and funny and extremely changes the way that we live the more we sort of realize this stuff. So if you've never heard of the Akashic Records or Seven Subtle Bodies or astral traveling or any of these things, like look into it, just see what's possible out there. Like a lot of us don't even think we can run a marathon, but do we think we can travel to another dimension and heal ourselves spontaneously, activate and deactivate DNA expressions that would create ripples through ourselves and our families and our planet in positive ways? Like this is all in our reality right now, and some people are working with it and playing with it. And so, I've also been on the other side of it where like I've fully identified with my body as my body. It's a reflection of me and the sort of hamster wheel of suffering of my ego putting the shame into my body, looking at my body, that activates the shame and keeping me trapped in this sort of fear cycle. So ultimately the hope and the path and the dream is to move out of a fear dominant experience into a love dominant experience. And the more we get out of the way and let that happen, the more these like unfathomable miracles and experiences can be experienced. Essentially, this body and this wild technology of our brains and our pineal glands and our nervous systems and our mitochondria and the cells and the DNA and our brains, and just like it's like unfathomable technology built on unfathomable technology. And then we think like, I'm going to do this cleanse or do this kind of exercise and then I'm going to like heal everything and fix everything. And it's funny and futile, and I've certainly been trapped in that too. So I have so much compassion for anyone who's in that. But I guess my hope in sharing this is just like, if you can think of it, if you can dream of it, if you read about it, it's possible. There's absolutely no limits to what's possible. And this body is the vehicle or the spaceship to experiencing that. And it's absolutely unreal. I mean, think of something like Kundalini awakening. This is not something that's like debated whether it happens or not. It happens. Whether people maybe are ready for it or not is a different debate. But, these types of experiences are happening all the time around us, have been happening for centuries. And the more we sort of start to orient to this unbelievable, unimaginable power and potential and technology that our bodies give us the opportunity to experience in this lifetime as a human being, is like, wow, what a joy that we get to do that. And so the more that we sort of recognize that and see that and feel it and have these experiences, it's like, how would you take care of this multi-dimensional spaceship that gives you the opportunity to experience almost anything you could possibly imagine, and probably 100 times more? Would you help it get the rest it needs and go to bed and go to the float tank and meditate? Would you exercise? What would you feed it? What does it need? What does it want to be fed? I think for me, even there's times where I've been very, it needs meat and density and nutrient dense foods. And then there's times where it needs fruit and vegetables and light, higher vibrational, easier to digest foods. And so, in the same lifetime, we can go through many phases and cycles. There's the seasons of the year can affect this, the where we live can affect this, where we're born can affect this. So getting attuned to this instrument also helps tune this instrument. And through doing that, we can hear and know and understand, does my body love running? Does my body love swimming? Does my body love dancing? Does my body want fruit? Does it want vegetable? Does it like yoga? Does it like sound bath? Does it like float tanks? Does it like 60-minute shavasanas at home? Like all of these things potentially are incredible medicine for healing and unlocking the potential of these multi-dimensional spaceships that we're inhabiting for 80 to 90 years, hopefully. And just the breadth of experience is so far beyond what we think it is a lot of the time. I guess my hope in this video is just to shed light on like so much is possible, so much experience is possible in this lifetime, in these bodies that we have, and the process of sort of realizing and, you know, disidentifying with being the body, and that the body is us, because it's very clearly not. Even if you just think of when I was 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old, looking in the mirror, I was always there, and this body is almost completely different over those phases and stages. So what I am can't be this body. I'm intimately, integrated into it for this lifetime, but getting a little bit of space and understanding and starting to see what can fuel this unbelievable potential is super exciting. And from that place and perspective, it makes eating healthy and sleeping good, taking care of ourselves and moving our bodies, like, it's not a chore. It's like, wow, I get to like fine tune this incredible technology that's been gifted to me for this few decades, and like I want to enjoy it. You know, we've got nice bikes and we wash and clean and tune them up, and we've got nice cars and we wash and clean and keep them running nice. It's like, you know, less of us have airplanes that we do that with, but we probably would do the same thing. You know, we want it to be able to fly good and last a long time. And so these bodies are, you know, all of those things times 1,000. And so just an invitation to explore what could be possible, and whether that's, you know, starting to research things or even just through your own experiences, what's possible. You know, even if you think of like empathy, everyone thinks, oh yeah, there's empathy. You know, empathy is the experience of going inside another person's body and experiencing what they're experiencing. That's actual empathy, and that is possible too. It's kind of scary and feels a little overwhelming, but it's also an experience that, you know, lots of people have the capacity to do. And we all have kind of our own little unique, special versions of this, which is really cool too. And so getting to know that, getting in tuned, and, you know, Paul Chek, one of my mentors and teachers, you know, he referred to our bodies as our chief instrument. And what that instrument is for is experiencing love. It's for receiving love and expressing and sharing love in our own unique ways. And so doing the work to keep these instruments as efficient and clean as possible only allows us to have more incredible, expansive, evolution-inspiring experiences, and sharing those with others, which is, I don't know what else there is to do in this world. That sounds like a pretty fun adventure. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting to listen to. I've been just thinking about it, smiling to myself over the last couple of weeks, and I just wanted to share it because it just gets me excited about like what is possible and finding out the next thing that might be possible, and, you know, treating my body in a way that gives it the chance for me to have that experience. So yeah, sending you and your bodies love, and enjoy the experience, enjoy the ride.